XAML user interfaces are built as trees of objects. The previous button example was a rather trivial case, a single piece of text as the child node of a single button. Real user interfaces tend to be a bit more complex, and the tree structure is more clearly evident. In this example, we have a root element, a page in this case, containing a single child, a stack panel. This panel's job is to decide where its children appear. It arranges a label and a text box in a horizontal stack in this case. So it's still fairly simple, but slightly more evidence of tree structure, a root node with a single child which contains a couple of child nodes. However, if you consider what appears on screen, we clearly end up with more than the 4 elements shown here in the XAML. The page and stack panel aren't directly visible here. They're containers whose presence is evident in the overall layout rather than contributing their own appearance directly. But you can see the name label on the left and a text box on the right. But while that text box is nominally a single thing, it has quite a lot going on. There's the outline, there's also a blinking cursor. If it had some text in there, that would be visible too. There might be a selection to render, scroll bars might appear as well. The humble text box can end up with lots of individual parts. So while it can make sense to consider it as a single element, it can also be reasonable to consider it as a composite entity with lots of parts. WPF therefore presents 2 views onto the UI structure to the code. The logical tree, which is what we're looking at here, and then the visual tree. This includes everything that is required to make the user interface visible. The visual tree is typically a superset of the logical tree. You can see here that all the logical elements are also present in the visual tree. So these 2 trees are really just 2 different views onto the same set of objects that make up the UI. The logical tree leaves out a lot of detail, enabling you to focus on the coarse structure of the user interface and to ignore the details of exactly how it has been presented. And the logical tree is what you use to create the basic structure of your user interface. The visual tree will be of interest if you're focusing on the presentation. For example, if you wish to customize the appearance of a text box, you will need to get involved with the visual tree.